What's up, friends? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the 2020 Specialized Stumpjumper. This is the alloy version and it's 29-inch. Kind of a new bike day video, but not really. I'm just going to discuss it real quick. So if you want to learn more about it, then just keep on watching. If you could hear it in my voice, I've been a little bit under the weather and I haven't been able to ride this thing to its fullest extent yet. Whenever I purchased it, I got to trail ride it for just a few hours and I did take some video and do some first impressions of that ride. The bike feels really good. Seems like it does really well once you get it up to speed, which I have heard. Like it feels way more active and progressive whenever you have it up to speed as opposed to just, you know, moseying through the trail. Like, just feels way better when you're going fast on it. And just in my short experience on it thus far, that's what I could tell. So it will be posted shortly, but my full range review isn't going to be released for another couple weeks. I just wanted to do this video to talk about it and let you know that I have a new bike, because that's a pretty cool thing to share with you. I've been riding a pretty low-end bike for a while, and this by no means is like a high-end bike. It's actually the most bang for buck for what you're paying for. The price of this bike is $2,000 essentially. They Specialized priced it at $2,010, and that's what I got it at my local bike shop. You could also order it online, but this is what I had. And it's actually an extra large. So I've been noticing in the ride footage that I've been watching of myself that I feel a little bit like slouched, and I looked a little bit slouched. So I feel like the XL, it looked huge at first, but after riding it, it feels really good. And I kind of had to get over the fact that an extra large means it's going to be really big. I'm actually a pretty big person. I'm just lanky, so proportionately I look really good on the bike, a lot better than on my other bike, which is a large. My GT just felt kind of cramped, and this one feels like I'm really upright and have a good balance center on the bike and riding position. So this is the extra large, and it being 29-inch wheels and a full suspension, way different world than what I'm used to. So I'm used to riding a hardtail that's a 27.5 plus bike, and this thing feels way different. It performs way differently. I'm gonna have to get used to it, but it feels really great, so I have no complaints about it. Like I said, this is the entry level of trim that Specialized offers. It's the aluminum frame, but even though it's entry level, it has such good components on it that you would be hard pressed to find another bike new for this price. I was gonna buy secondhand, but all of the Stumpjumpers that I could find on Facebook and Craigslist were more expensive than this bike, obviously because they were a little bit higher trim levels. But personally, I don't think that these components are going to hold me back at all. So I'll be able to upgrade the bike and grow with it. And I mean, for what I get out of the shop, it's really great. By the way, I purchased this bike at the bike shop in Ormond Beach. And with the purchase of a Specialized bike, they offer like a full service, lifetime service protection on it, so I could go in there and get anything I want done with this bike as far as like minimal service goes. If I like blow out a fork or something, they're not going to replace it for free, obviously, but if I bend a wheel and they need to true it, then I could go in there and get it done for free. So that's why you should really support your shop, your local shop. Ask them about the deals that you'll get with the bike, and and really question what they have to offer, because it might change your outlook on buying secondhand and not supporting your local shop. So let's just talk a little bit about why I chose the Stumpjumper. Well, I really like the stance of the bike ever since they really revamped the look of it, and I think it was 2017. This bike just looks really crisp and very modern. They have this extra arm here that adds stiffness to the bike, and from what I could tell, it feels pretty stiff. There's no real side-to-side play in it, and I was actually kind of afraid to move the back wheel around with that pivot point back there, just because it's something that I have to get used to, but it felt really stiff for what it is, and I can't really compare it to too many full suspension bikes other than my really beginner level Diamondback recoil, and it feels way more stiff than that bike. So feels really good. Obviously the price was one of the main reasons that I wanted to get this bike. I saw that their 2019s are actually on sale for $1,875, I think, and that trim level has always been that price, I believe. Now, don't quote me on that, but I remember seeing their entry-level trim on the Stumpjumpers to be around $1,800, and that's what tipped me off to looking into Stumpjumpers as a bike. The other comparison and competition that I was going to look into was the GT Sensor and Force, but the shops that were around my area that had them as dealers actually were out of stock on them. So had they been in stock, I might have been riding a GT Sensor or Force right now, but instead I'm riding the Specialized Stumpjumper, which I think was meant to be. So I'm taking it that way instead of, you know, wondering what would be if I had the GT instead of the Stumpjumper. Also, the components on it looked a little bit better than the GT in my opinion, and just because it looks really clean, and obviously this all blacked out look is really cool. Not really a reason why you should buy a bike, but I just thought it looked really minimal. Also, the fact that they don't have any branding on their bikes to begin with is really nice. So there's just some design elements that I really liked about this bike. I see a lot of people really ripping them, and it seems like it performs really well. And from the little bit of time I spent on it, it feels great, like way better than what I have been riding in a different way, obviously, but I could already feel that it's going to perform really well. So that's why I purchased this bike, and I'm really excited to share with you the experience on it, as this is the beginner level trim, and I think it's the most accessible for people, and I'm going to try to keep it pretty low level as far as what I put onto it, just so it's more relatable for people, because I see a lot of people test riding these Stumpjumpers and the GTs and all those full suspension bikes that are on the top tier, but they're also the most expensive trim levels of the bikes. So it's like, I mean, it's nice for people who have the money and funds to just go out there and buy like a $6,000 carbon fiber bike, but personally I only have like this much money, and the fact that they test ride the bikes, nothing against it. I mean, if somebody sent me a high level trim Stumpjumper, I wouldn't say no, but it's not very relatable for most people, because they're not going to go and spend that $6,000. This is pretty relatable because it's only $2,000. It's still a lot in my opinion, but if you start pricing out all the components, it makes sense. Also, the aluminum on this bike, it holds up better. I don't care what anybody says, oh, aluminum could ding, and it's more fragile and less structurally integral than carbon fiber, but I've seen more carbon fiber dented and cracked than I have like a regular aluminum bike. I've had so many aluminum bikes over the years, not in the mountain biking realm, just I've had a ton of aluminum bikes thrown around, and I've never once had an issue with them denting or cracking. And I've seen so many examples of carbon fiber bikes that have been dinged and cracked just from like moving them around. So In my opinion, if you want something that will last longer, then just get an aluminum bike, because it's less likely to crack and fail. Even though Specialized has lifetime guarantee on their frames. So look forward to some reviews and discussions on this bike coming from a entry-level aspect of riding, not really for myself, but for other people, because it's the most accessible full suspension bike on the market currently, and I like sharing that sort of information with people who are new to riding. I'm going to be posting a lot more about it. Also, I have good news about my action camera. I'm getting the GoPro Hero 8. Just be on the lookout for some of those videos. I won't be uploading any new ride footage, but I will be uploading old backlog from my Hero 7. But that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions about this Stumpjumper or anything related to what I talked about today, then just pop them in the comments down below. I guess you could subscribe if you like the content, and don't forget to go out there, create your own adventure however you can. Spread some positivity. I'll see you later.